All right, we're going to get started in just a minute or two here. And if you can hear me okay, please reply on Remind, or you can send me a text message to the number you see on the screen and just say, hey, it sounds good, or we can't hear you. Because I'm looking at my screen here and I can see that the sound meter is working. So you should be able to hear me okay. So if you would send me a text message or remind and say that you can hear me okay. So we're going to start in just a minute here. So, all right, I'm getting a couple of people that are saying that they can hear me, so that's great. I'm going to close that out. Actually, we'll do that. All right, we're getting a bunch of notifications that you can hear me. Good. Okay. All right, excellent. So, I know that there's a lot of uncertainty going on right now with all the coronavirus going on and all that stuff. And if you're a senior, and know that colleges are making some special concessions. I've been watching this very closely, and I've noticed that some of the colleges are pushing the May 1st decision deadline out to June 1st, and some of them will even do it beyond that. And then for those of you who are juniors, not knowing what to do regarding visiting some colleges, since we're on the shut-in right now, what can we do? We're going to talk about some different things that we can do. It looks like all right. I don't know what happened there, but it looks like we're back online. So, a couple things that are coming up. If you missed it, there's the mandatory resume builder class for juniors, class of 2021. Please plan on attending that. That will be April 7th at 6 p.m. I'll send out an email and text message to sign up for that. Also coming up is the How to Market Yourself class. I don't have a date for that yet, but I will have that next couple days, and I'll send out a email and a text message to sign up for that as well. Also coming up on April 19th is the Spring College Fair, and that is, when I checked it last just a little bit ago, it was still on, and I'll keep an eye on that to see if ASU is going to keep that, or if they're going to cancel or postpone that event. And I'll send out messages accordingly with that. So let's go to our PowerPoint. So today's class is the Get Ready for College class. And here's a couple examples of some students. So this particular student is going to TCU, and she did all the things that were necessary in order to get her a nod. Yes, you are admitted to our school, and they gave her an incredible scholarship package, $216,000 in scholarships. Her brother is currently attending University of Notre Dame. He's going to be graduating in the next couple months or so, and he got about $204,000 in scholarships at Notre Dame. Got another student at LA Tech, and he's getting 100% of tuition covered, and plus a little bit extra on top of that. He did all the things that were necessary, was coachable, followed through, and got the results. Here's another student who was admitted to Vanderbilt. Again, he did all the things necessary, followed through, was coachable, and got an incredible scholarship of $231,000 to attend Vanderbilt. And my biggest one as of to date, and I hope you can beat this one, is NYU. Again, he was coachable, did all the things necessary, followed through, demonstrated interest, worked on his grades, worked on his test scores, all of those things, and ended up admitted to NYU. And over the course of the next 4 years, he will get $263,000 in scholarships. Nicole got admitted, got another student, and you're next. Okay, so let's move on our presentation. Have you ever done this or said this to anyone? Especially little kids will say this: "You did that on purpose." And don't you ever want to go, "Well, yeah, I did do it on purpose." Okay. As you move through high school and eventually college and life, do things on purpose. Choose the things that you will do and the activities that you will be in, and be intentional. And I call the program Being Intentional. Being intentional about your grades, being intentional about your activities, and all those things. So intentional is an adjective, is a function word that depends on something else. So you have to be this in order to be intentional. So we have to be intentional about something. We have to be intentional about our grades, our test scores, our involvement with clubs, our college selection, our college applications, and yes, even our college essays. So don't do stuff randomly. Be intentional with the things that you do. Intentional college planning involves taking responsibility for your grades, for your test scores, for your attitude towards school and teachers. It requires gaining clarity about what we want with college, owning what we say, and choosing how we show up in all situations for how we want to contribute. Being intentional requires refining skills, learning to choose to respond versus react. Consistently increasing focus on college experience is what we intend to create, without defining how it has to look. It's simple, but rarely easy. Is it worth it? Yeah, absolutely. When you're admitted to your dream school, or you receive that incredible scholarship package, yeah, it'll all be worth it. So goal, I love this one. The object of a goal is the object of a person's ambition or effort, an aim or a desired result. So here's a question. What is your goal? And here is a quote from Mal Pancoast. The odds of hitting your target go up dramatically when you aim at it. So what is your current GPA and your current test scores? What GPA and what test scores do you want to graduate high school with? What is your current SAT score, and how do you plan on getting to the next level? Same thing with ACT, PSAT, AP test subject scores, etc. So be intentional with your GPA that you have, and be intentional with the GPA that you're going to ultimately graduate high school with. So let's get ready. So next time you go to a grocery store, I want you to walk down the cereal aisle. And when you're about halfway down the aisle, I want you to stop and kneel so that your eyes are about this level, about 3 feet off of the ground. what do you see at that level? You see all the shiny cereal boxes that are aimed directly to children ages 3 to 6. So why are those boxes at that level? It's because they're aiming their product for the consumer. So a 3 to 6-year-old is about 3 feet tall, and they're going to walk through the grocery store with their parent, and they're going to reach over and they're going to grab that cereal box and say, "Mom, Dad, I want this. Can you buy it for me?" It's not going to be up on the top shelf because those kids aren't tall enough to reach that level. So it's going to be right at their level. So they're positioning their product to the right consumer. So your job as a student is to make yourself into a shiny cereal box that colleges will want to buy, will want to admit. So you can craft, create, and be intentional by implementing a plan, a goal to become a great college candidate. I love the story of the brass V. Every year, new freshmen move into college dorms. The hustle and bustle of moving boxes, unpacking, meeting new friends is common on every campus. A particular college student moved into his freshman dorm, and one of the first things that he did was he mounted a brass letter V to his door. Everyone who would walk by would inquire what the letter V was for, and the college freshman wouldn't say anything. People would constantly ask him, "What's this letter for?" And he would smile and just say, "You'll see." No one knew what the brass V was for, or what it represented, or if it was anything at all. Not even his closest friends, nor his roommates, nor anybody on his dorm floor. The college years passed, and every year it was the same thing. The college student would move into his dorm room and mount that brass V to the door. Periodically, it would need dusting and cleaning. And this was done to keep the brass shining. Sophomore year, junior year, senior year, the brass V was mounted on the door. Dorm mates and students would walk by and ask the same question. Even faculty and professors would walk by and ask and inquire about the brass V. Every time he would smile and say, "You'll see." Eventually, the senior year of college came and the final set of finals was taken, and yet no one knew what the brass V was for. There was a buzz in the air on graduation night. The college faculty and the dean sat on the stage. The opening graduation ceremony started as most graduations do. A guest speaker gave a riveting motivational speech. The dean walked up to the podium and announced who was the new valedictorian. The dean looked at the college student as he made his way to the stage. The applause was energizing. The college student spoke gently into the microphone and said, "For 4 years, all of you have asked what this brass V is for." And holding it up, high and proud, he smiled and said, "V is for valedictorian." This is how you can be intentional. That was a complete plan and a complete strategy that this student carried out. So set a goal. Do what's necessary to achieve your goal. So how do we be intentional, and how do we make ourselves into great college candidates? How do we mold ourselves into the candidates that colleges want? If you know, it's not scary. And I'm going to tell you. Understanding what a college and university is looking for in a college candidate, and now do these things. So if you understand and know what colleges are looking for, then you can do those things. It really is simple, but rarely easy. If you know what a college is looking for and what students they're trying to recruit, then it's easier to play the college game. And yes, it is a game. You first must know the rules in order to win. On the college application, colleges ask specific questions. Do things that you can boast about in the application. You can see a generic application on my website, azcollegeplanning.com. I believe I posted one on the YouTube page. If not, I will go in and double check that and make sure that there is a link to a generic college application that you can check out. So 5 things that colleges are looking for in a student. We're going to cover the how, the why, the what, and the when. The first thing is grades. Colleges are going to ask you about your grades, your GPA, your class rigor. Did you take some challenging classes, or did you take all easy classes? Now, if your high school doesn't offer an IB program or AP classes or any of those things, don't worry about it. But do take the hardest classes that you can and get a great grade in those classes. I had a student a few years ago who said, JD, I'm taking 6 AP classes next semester. And my first thought was, I think you're kind of crazy. But my question was, do you think you can maintain your high grades? And he said, yes, I can do that. I said, all right, great. Go ahead and do that and take those AP classes. He did. And at the end of the semester, I had a conversation with him. How'd you do? And he said, I got all A's in my classes. Great job on that, by the way. But he said, I'll never do that again because I didn't have a social life. The only thing that I did was study. Okay. So your job is to graduate high school with the highest GPA, the highest grades that you can. And in line with that, take the hardest classes that you can, but don't take so many that don't take so many AP or honors classes that your grades are going to be impacted negatively. So be intentional with your grades. Your job as a high school student is to get the best grades that you can. If you need some help with your grades or you're struggling with a particular class, go and talk to the teacher. Go talk to a tutor or something like that. I would really encourage you to go and talk to a teacher. The reason why I would encourage you to do that is because, especially if the teacher's been teaching for a long period of time, they have forgotten why they started teaching. And the reason why they originally started teaching was they wanted to help students learn. And when you go in and talk with the teacher and say, hey, I am struggling with this subject a little bit. Can you help me out a little bit? Can you re-explain this to me? What that will do is that will cause a spark in their head and they will remember, oh, I remember why I started teaching. It was to help students learn. And that will cause some endorphins in their brain, which will be positive, and they will have a positive feeling about you. And as a result of that, you should get a better grade. So to get good grades and a good GPA, of course, the first thing is turn in all your homework assignments on time and completed. Participate in class discussion. You can do that by learning to overcome the obstacle of not asking questions in class. I know it can be a little bit scary to ask questions in class, but more than likely, there are going to be other students that are sitting in your class that have the same questions or similar questions. By asking questions, the more times that you do this, the more comfortable you will be and the easier it will be to participate in class. By participating in class and joining in with a positive interaction and respecting the teacher, your grades will go up. And this will also help you with your teacher recommendation letters, which will be required later on. So be intentional with your homework. Turn it in on time. Be intentional with your class participation. Grades and GPA, as we continue to talk about that, do take some advanced classes, AP honors, etc. That can increase your class rank. So I had a conversation with a student. This is a really funny story. Had a conversation with a student, and it was towards the end of his junior year, so about this time, April-ish of his junior year. And we were having a conversation. Hey, how are your grades? And he says, I've got a 4.0. And hey, good job. And I said, oh, are you in line to be the valedictorian at his high school? And he said, no, I'm not, because there are 5 other students that are all in IB classes just like myself, and all 5 of us or all 6 of us are getting the A's, so it'll be a 6-way tie for valedictorian. I said, do you really want to beat those other kids out? And he says, yes. I said, here's what you do, is over the course of summer, take 2 AP classes and get an A in those classes. those extra points will add on to your overall GPA, and you'll be able to beat out those other students. He did that, and when it was time for them to announce who the valedictorian was, his friends were really surprised that he beat them out. Now, it's not necessary to be valedictorian to get into college, but if that is something that you're aspiring to do, awesome. The next thing that college is going to ask you about is test scores. That's going to be your SAT, ACT, as well as PSAT scores. Test scores are important because it is a leveling field for all high schools. As an example, if a student was to take a biology class in Florida and got an A in that class, and another student took a biology class in Arizona and got an A in that class, and both of those students applied to the same college, the college doesn't know how much work and effort each of those students put in to earn that A. Maybe at one high school, every student gets an easy A, and where at another school, the student has to work really hard to earn that A. So the leveling field is test scores. Every student across the United States, when they're sitting for the SAT, they are all taking the same SAT test. Okay, so test scores are the equalizer. So start taking your tests early. If you are in 7th or 8th grade, plan on taking the test. If you are in your freshman year, please plan on taking the test sometime this spring. And take it as a 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th grader, your scores really don't matter. Go take it to just get some practice. And taking a live real test will give you the same, it will actually give you a feel of what to expect when you are taking it for scores that are going to matter. Take it in your junior year, and the goal is to get the score you want and need sometime in your junior year. And preferably you don't have to take it, or it's not necessary to take it in your senior year if you've gotten the score that you need sometime in your junior year. If necessary, seniors do take the test again. But for seniors, the question you want to ask is, if I take it again at this date, will it matter? For most colleges, the submission for a test score date has lapsed. For some schools, it's going to be January or February of the senior year. So taking it in March of the senior year won't matter. So ask that question for each of the colleges you're going to be applying to. And the question is, when is the last time I could submit test scores for scholarship consideration? And that will kind of guide you as to when the last time you can actually take the tests is. Yeah, we talked about all that stuff already. So if you want to aim for a number, 1450 on your SAT will earn you an incredible scholarship package, and a 33 on your ACT will earn you an incredible scholarship package. Can you do that? Yes, you can do that if you put your mind to it, put in the effort and all that. When Ellie was going through this process, she asked the recruiter at Pacific Lutheran University up in Seattle this question, and the question is, what is your biggest scholarship and how do I qualify for it? And the recruiter said, so write that down, please. What is your biggest scholarship and how do I qualify for it? What is your biggest scholarship and how do I qualify for it? So Ellie asked that question of the recruiter at PLU, and the recruiter said you have to have a 3.0 GPA or higher, and you have to have a 28 ACT score or higher, or the equivalent SAT score, which is about a 1300. And she said, I'm going to focus on the ACT. Okay, that's fine. Initially, take both the SAT and ACT. Then after you take both of them, determine which one you feel stronger about, and then focus on that one test. So she did that. She says, I'm going to focus on the ACT. Took the ACT 3 times. Third time, popped a 28. Done. If she had taken the test again and earned a 29 or higher, she would not have gotten any more money at that particular college. So at some point of you taking these tests, you will be done. At what point? It's based on the colleges that you're planning on applying to. So be intentional with your test scores. The next thing that colleges are going to ask you about is extracurricular activities in school. They're asking you these things to see if you might be involved in one or more activities at their college. So this is important to colleges because students who are involved in activities in the college are more likely to stay in college and not drop out, and they're eventually going to graduate. This is what colleges want. That's their evil ulterior motive, is they want you to stay at their school and graduate, because that makes them look good. So be intentional with your extracurricular activities. Don't join every club that your high school has. This will not impress a college. Do get leadership positions within any club, any leadership position. So when Tori was going through this process, she joined an academic club at her school, and there were 2 or 3 people running for president, 2 or 3 people running for vice president, and no one was running for treasurer. She wrote her name in there for treasurer, and guess what? She got elected. On the college application, it says, what is the name of your activity? And then what is the description? What do you do within that activity? And then the next question is what is your title? Do you have a leadership position? And she was able to say, yes, I am treasurer. The next question is not on there. Did you beat out 50 other kids? It doesn't ask that question. It only asks, do you have a leadership position and what is your title? So please look for leadership positions, any leadership position. The other thing that colleges prefer is longevity within an activity. They'd rather see a student stay with a particular club or activity over the course of 3 or 4 years versus this semester I tried that, next semester I'm going to try something else, and next semester I'm doing something else. It's okay to try stuff, yes, but it's also good to stay in the same activity over the course of all your high school. So the reason why colleges are asking you about the activities, one is that they want to know if you're going to join a similar activity in their school, and they also want to know what you're going to bring to their campus. Okay, so be intentional about the activities that you are involved with in school. Also be intentional about the activities that you're involved with outside of school. So get involved with some outside school activities, but don't kill yourself by taking on too many things. Here's a couple examples of some extracurricular things that are outside of school. Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, Boys and Girls Club, karate, club sports, volunteering or doing some charity work, being involved with your church, temple, or synagogue, volunteering there. Getting a job is outside activity. Now, with getting a job, do talk with your parents to see if it's okay for you to get a job. And if you do get a job, don't let your job interfere with your grades. Because yes, it's really cool to get a $100 paycheck. And if I work twice as much, I'll get a $200 paycheck. And if I work even more, and at some point there's going to be a tipping scale where we're working too many hours and the grades start going down. Yes, it's cool to get a $100 or a $200 paycheck, but it's 10 times cooler to get a $10,000 scholarship. Okay? So these are just some examples of some outside high school activities. The fifth thing that colleges are looking at is showing or demonstrating leadership or having a passion about one or two things. So be intentional with your passion and your leadership. Many students are rejected from top colleges because they thought that their grades and their test scores were enough to get them in. Yes, grades and test scores are important, but they're not going to be the factor that separates students from the masses. So over the course of your high school years, develop your passion. So what do you love? What are your interests? What do you like to spend your time doing or looking for information on? So be intentional about this. If you don't know what to do on all this, don't stress out much. I'm going to show you what you need to do. So most of the time when students apply to colleges, they're minimalists. They give the college as little information as possible and say, here's me, make a decision. We want to be maximists, if that's a word. We want to give the college tons of information about us and our activities. I had a conversation with one of my students a while back, and I was reviewing his resume and his application, and one of the activities on there was clerk, C-L-E-R-K, a one-word, five-letter answer. I said, that's it? Give me some more information on that. And he says, okay, well, I greet customers when they come in. I'm like, okay, put that down. Customer relations. What else? Oh, I stock the shelves. Okay, put that down. I help with inventory. What else? Oh, the boss has me lock up the store twice a week. I'm like, wow, that's huge. Definitely put that down on your resume. What that shows is that the boss trusts you. And trust, being trustworthy, is another definition for leadership. Okay, so put that down. As a result of that, that student got a leadership scholarship. The college would not have given him that if they didn't know about it. So we want to be detailed in our resume. So I've had students say this, I'm interested in so many things, or I'm not interested in anything at all. I don't know what to do. Well, here's a couple questions. The first question is, what makes you steaming mad? Or what makes you super excited happy? Those might be the things that you want to develop your passion with. So here's a story about Matt. When Matt came into the office, I had a conversation with him, and he was telling me a little bit about the activities that he was involved with. And one of the things that he told me was he loves playing guitar. And he plays guitar for his youth group at his church. He also is in a band in his high school, and he was looking for the perfect sound. So his interest was music, songs, music composition, and of course the sound that his guitar made. So Matt used the internet to find new effects pedals. So he would browse YouTube looking for that perfect sound. You guys know what effects pedals are. They plug into the electric guitar and they make the echo and the reverb sound and all that. So while Matt's passion for the perfect sound led him to looking for the schematics of guitar effects pedals. So as Matt and I were having this conversation, he said, I really want to study engineering in college. How do I match up playing my guitar with engineering? And I said, why don't you build an effects pedal? So he went out and found the schematics, and through some trial and error was able to build one. As a result of all that, he wrote about that in his essay and in his resume. Here's the story about Luke. Luke loves computers and software programs that are used to create programs that people use. He likes to tinker and look at computer code. He also uses the internet to help write better software programs. So when Luke came into the office, we were having a conversation, and he said, oh, JD, just recently it was my birthday, and I got an iTouch for my birthday, and I learned how to jailbreak it. You guys know what that means, right? Jailbreaking it is when you have an Apple product and you remove the software constraints. So with a standard Apple product, the only software that you can download is by going to the Apple Store. When you jailbreak it, you remove those constraints and you can go to the internet and download pretty much anything onto an Apple product. So he learned how to jailbreak it. And the next day he went to school and was telling his friends how he jailbreak his iTouch, and his friends were impressed and said, hey, could you do that to mine? And he said, yeah, for 25 bucks, I can do that. So he started a small little business. And Luke and I were having this conversation. And I said, that's a great idea. Why don't you take that idea and push it as far as you can? Why don't you open up and create a Craigslist ad? I can jailbreak your iPhone, iPad, etc. And if you want me to do that, it's 25 bucks. So he was able to start a small little business doing that and was able to write about that in his essay and in his resume. Here's a story about Gabby. Gabby loves to help people. She also likes politics. She got involved in the Model UN at her school. She was involved in student government at her school and planned events. She was involved in various different competitions as well. She volunteered at underprivileged camps for young kids. So Gabby has a compassion for helping others, which was evident throughout her college application and in her essay, as well as her resume. In her extracurricular section, she told of the volunteer work she did at some of the natural disasters. She told about the volunteer hours she helped with underprivileged kids, and she highlighted in her application the charity walks that she was involved with both as a participant and as a volunteer. She's studying humanities and international relations in college. So Gabby was intentional about these things. So it's very easy to develop a passion when you know how. When you develop a passion, you can choose to be intentional about it. So if you really want to learn how to develop a passion, we can boil it down to this simple statement. And that simple statement is learn more about it, whatever it is. The more you learn about it, the more passionate you are going to be about it. The more you learn about it, the more you can appreciate it. And as your appreciation continues to grow, so will your passion. So learn more about it. So what are your interests? Are you interested in movies, books, sports, animals, cars, mountain biking? Learn more about it, whatever it is. You can pick up a magazine on the topic. You can browse the internet looking for that subject. You can find others who are interested in similar things. You can also start a club or so in your high school. So another word, and when you do that, when you start a club, another word for leadership is responsibility. So being responsible about the things that you are intentional about is leadership. So let's get ready to visit some colleges. And I know with the whole shut-in right now, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge to visit some colleges. And eventually they'll lax those stay-at-home rules and we'll be able to go out and visit some colleges again. So do be intentional when you visit some colleges. When you visit a college, sign up for the tour and show up for that tour. Now we do have a couple colleges right here in our backyard. We've got ASU, we've got Grand Canyon University, and we also have Arizona Christian University. I do encourage students to visit those three colleges because it's not a big time or money commitment. It's a half an hour, maybe 45-minute drive to any one of those campuses, and then an hour or two on the tour. And each one of those colleges offer different things. ASU is a large public college. Grand Canyon University is a mid-sized private university, and Arizona Christian University is a small religious school. When you visit Arizona Christian University, look at it through two different lenses. The first lens to look at it is going to be the size of the school, and the second lens to look at it is the religious requirements. So don't base all colleges on any one particular college. Do visit a bunch of schools. And another reason to visit the three schools that are right here is because when you go to San Diego and visit a college, or when you go to Chicago and visit a college, now you've got something you can weigh, balance, compare, and contrast. Okay? When you visit a college, if you don't walk away with the impression of, wow, that school's amazing, I want to go there, they did a bad job, and they need to be replaced. That is their job, to make you say, wow, yes, I do want to apply. Yes, I do want to attend that particular college. So go visit ASU, GCU, and Arizona Christian University. So here's Ellie's story. She visited 3 colleges. I already told you that one of the schools that she was looking at was Pacific Lutheran University up in Seattle, and she visited that college. And she did ask that question when she was visiting the college, what's your biggest scholarship and how do I qualify for it? And then she did those things. Well, when she visited the college, the tour guide walked her around the campus and said, here's our dorm, and here's our cafeteria, and here's our new science building. It's awesome. It's made out of recycled material, has solar panels, it's all green, super awesome. And she was like, wow, that's kind of cool. Then she and her family drove down to Salem, Oregon, and visited Willamette University and went on the tour there. And it was the same thing. Here's our dorm, here's our cafeteria, and here's our new science building. It's awesome. Green, solar panels, recycled. And she's like, wait a minute. I just heard that. Then she and her family drove down to Stockton, California, visited University of the Pacific, and it was the same conversation. Here's our dorm, here's our cafeteria, science building, green, solar, and all that. She's like, okay, cross that off as being unique at each of these colleges, and let's focus on the special intricacies of each college. So when you go on vacation in California, Minnesota, Illinois, Washington, or anywhere, take a few minutes to go and visit a college or two. You can also go to a sporting event or go to a concert or a play that the college is offering. That'll give you an idea about some of the different activities that colleges have. The more information you collect from a variety of colleges and a variety of sources, the more informed you will be when you pick your final selection. Get ready to get some information from colleges. So be intentional with the information that you receive. And how you can start getting on the college's radar is go to the College Board's website and click on the link, request information from the college. So I'm going to show you how to do that real quick here. So we'll go to, open up a web page here. We'll go to collegeboard.org, and then we're going to scroll down a little bit. And I'm going to type in ASU just because. Click on that college. And then we're going to let the page load. And we'll scroll down a little bit to the applying button. I don't know if you can see that right there. It says applying. Click on that. And right in the green box over here, we can see that it says request information. Click on that. And it's going to bring you to ASU's request information form page. And then you will fill out the appropriate information on here. I'm going to be on campus, and it's going to ask you, what area, what do you think you want to study? I think I want to study business. I want to go to the Tempe campus. And then it's going to ask you what your name, address, phone number is, all of that stuff. You'll fill all that out. And at the very bottom is the submit button. You'll click on that, and that will get you on the college's radar. Man, start all the way at the beginning. Let's get back to where we want to be. Okay. So fill out that form, and that will get you on their radar. And then you'll get emails, flyers, and brochures, and all that stuff. Then when you get the brochures and the flyers and all that, compare those things. Look at it, read the information that's on there, all that stuff. Now, everything that you see on there, every picture on the websites, every picture on any brochure, all of those things have been photoshopped. So please know that. I want to show you this one right here. Okay. So this is a college magazine, and I don't know if you can see the difference between the two. Let me point it out. Right over here, we have a face that is photoshopped in there. And over here, we can see that the face is not in there. So they photoshopped an ethnic student in there to kind of show diversity and all that. So know that every one of those things has been photoshopped. So look at the brochures, get the information that colleges are sending you, and review that data. And that will help you decide, do you want to keep a college on your list, or do you want to remove it from your list? Some things that you can look for is areas that are underrepresented. Can you fit in any of these categories? What is the gender split on it? What is the ethnicity of the colleges? Can you play the ethnic card? How many students are in a particular major? Are there any majors that are underrepresented? I'm going to talk about this section right here in much detail in the leveraging admission class that will be coming up shortly. So the question is there any categories that are underrepresented? And if there are, can you fit into any of those categories? So take a proper class load. Now the requirements that are needed for you to graduate from a high school in the state of Arizona may not necessarily be the same requirements that a college wants. I had a conversation with a student a little while ago, and his high school counselor said, oh, you only need to take these particular classes to graduate and get a high school degree. Well, it turns out that one of the schools that he was looking at required him to take an additional math class. And so he had to scramble at the last minute and take that extra math class. So you want to take the appropriate classes that are necessary in order to get into the colleges that you're looking at. Get ready to develop relationships. So be intentional with who you meet. Part of the college application is the recommendation letter from the teacher. There's also going to be a recommendation from your counselor as well. So typically it's going to be your junior year teacher that's going to write your recommendation letter. So start now by interacting in class, participating, asking questions, seeking help if needed, and ask if you can help in any way, in a positive way. By participating and seeking help and all that, the teacher will recognize you, and you'll be able to develop rapport and a relationship with that teacher. When they know you, they will be able to write a better recommendation letter for you. So in the resume class, we're going to talk about what to put in your resume. And when you approach your teacher towards the end of your junior year, you will ask this question: can you write me a great recommendation letter? And that's exactly how I would phrase it. Can you write me a great recommendation letter? And if they say yes, then hand them a copy of your resume, just as reference. Also get ready to develop relationships with your counselors. I know for some of you it's a little bit of a challenge, but if definitely want to meet with your counselor at least once a semester. And when you see your counselor or your teacher walking through the hallway or in the cafeteria, it would be really great if you said hello. Hey, how's it going? That's going to develop some rapport. And again, if you develop that rapport, they know you and they like you, the probability of getting a great recommendation letter definitely goes up. You can also develop rapport and relationships with employers, pastors, priests, rabbis, college coaches, high school coaches, leaders, and college recruiters. That's going to be the big one, the college recruiters, is developing rapport with those people, because it will be the college recruiter or the college recruiter and a panel of people that make the decision, do we admit the student and do we give them some scholarships? And again, if they know you and they like you, the psychology of that is the probability of admission and scholarships goes up. So why? When you have a positive relationship with someone, they will become, and they may become, your advocate. When they become your advocate, that's when the magic happens. Someone who is your advocate will write you a better recommendation letter, and someone who is your advocate will give you a better scholarship package. So get ready to develop relationships by going to the college fair. Again, there's a fair coming up on April 19th. I don't know if they're going to postpone that or hold that event. As I find out more information, I will definitely send out emails and text message reminders on that. Get on the college's radar. And you're going to get on the college's radar by filling out the request for information form. There are several, I call them the college touch points. Every time you reach out and you touch a college, you're demonstrating interest. And in the marketing class that's coming up, I'm going to go into much detail as to how to develop, to demonstrate interest at the colleges. Here's two examples of demonstrating interest. One is to request information from the college by going to the college's website. A second is to go to the college fair and meet the recruiter. So get on the college's radar is important because it demonstrates interest. Demonstrating interest is one indicator used by colleges to determine how interested applicants are in enrolling in their college. Demonstrated interest can be assessed through various contacts with the admissions office, including requesting information, campus tours, and contact with the admissions representatives. So it is important to demonstrate interest. Get your social sites ready. Many colleges are checking out students on social media. So if you use social media, make sure that your sites are, your page is clean. I don't want to have any profanity on there or any pictures that are going to make anybody cringe or anything like that. No hate speech, etc. Students have been rejected from colleges based on the information that recruiters see on social sites. And yes, colleges are checking those things. Plus, future employers are going to check as well. So just keep all that stuff on the kosher side. Here's our timeline. And our timeline is to start your college touch points as early as 9th grade. Definitely work on your grades throughout high school and start focusing on scholarships at the spring semester of your junior year, moving forward throughout your senior year. So in conclusion, grades, GPA, test scores, extracurricular involvement, class rank, developing your passion can all be developed and carefully crafted. Join clubs and activities, get involved, and get a leadership position, any leadership position. Starting on this path early will increase your chances of success, and you'll be able to do it with less stress. So here's a common excuse is, I forgot. Okay, I forgot there was a homework assignment. I forgot that there was a term paper or other big project, etc. I forgot there was a test. Imagine if the post office or FedEx or UPS said, oops, I forgot to deliver a package. Do you think that would ever happen? It might happen, but that person will probably be fired. So that company would never let that happen. They can track exactly where your package is at any given moment. So you already know that there's going to be these things, tests, quizzes, term papers, reports, and other big projects. Write it down. Get a calendar and write it down, or if you want to use electronic calendar, put it all in there and put in reminders. Use that to track everything that you need to do. So when you or any student goes to college, you will be treated as an adult. On their very first day of class, the professors will give you a syllabus that outlines a semester. And that syllabus will state This is when we're giving quizzes. This is when a term paper is due. This is when tests are. All of those things will be outlined on the syllabus. So the whole excuse of I forgot or I didn't know, the professor is going to go, hey, I gave you that way back on day one. So start now and be intentional with staying on track. Keep track of when assignments are due. Turn in your homework on time. Write it down in a calendar. When your teacher writes an assignment on the board, take a picture of it with your phone and then write it down later. There's many apps that you can use to track, or you can just use the notes on your phone or take a memo with that. Keep it all in one spot. Don't keep it part of it here, part of it there. And we want to keep everything all condensed in one spot. That will keep it less confusing. So what do we do next? You can go to my website, azcollegeplanning.com, and check out the stuff that's on there. Write down your goals. What's your GPA goal? What GPA do you want to graduate high school with? Write it down. What test score do you want to have? What's your test score goal? Write it all down. So let's be intentional. So with the whole shut-in that's going on right now, here's a couple things that you can do. The first is to go to a search engine and type in the name of the college and a request for information form and go to that page, fill out that form, and get on their radar. You can also go to a search engine and type in the name of the college, so ASU and virtual tour, and review a virtual tour. Another thing that you can do is start some test prep on Khan Academy. Khan Academy is a fantastic resource that's available. You can do 10 to 30 minutes of prep on Khan Academy. Another thing that you can do is email college recruiters and ask questions. You can email the recruiter and ask questions about the major that you're thinking about studying. You can ask about the programs that they have and other opportunities that these colleges have. You want to reach out to the recruiters and ask these questions. And the reason why we want to do all that is we want to develop rapport, and we also want to demonstrate interest. So in conclusion, tell a friend about azcollegeplanning.com. I'd really appreciate that. So for those of you that are not currently members of AZ College Planning and you'd like some more information about our program, or you'd like to come in for a complimentary consultation and a college evaluation meeting, please give me a call. So on that note, thank you very much, and hope you all have a great evening. Bye-bye.